So lockstep is the first of 4 scenarios, and basically what this shows you is how they play with us, how they see us as cattle, as toys to be moved around a chessboard to try out future scenarios to fit in what is Agenda 2030 and all these other things, Project for the New American Century, Silent Weapons, Quiet Wars, all of these things that they plan out. And they have to let us know because it's something called revelation of the method. And when you look into the cult that is behind this, revelation of the method is their way of telling you what they're going to do to you without actually making it clear. So it gives you a half chance of stopping it. And if you don't stop it, then they believe that the karma is on you and you should have learned and stood in the way, which is how psychotic these people are. That's why you see a lot of these themes in the movies, in TV programs, especially on Netflix at the moment. It's popping up everywhere, this pandemic stuff. And not just that, this AI technology and all this rollout of the technocracy that's to come.
Revelation of the method is an occult philosophical concept by which the elite deliberately reveal their presence and workings in the world today in order to insulate themselves from the consequences of universal law. To understand revelation of the method, one must first understand how a knowledge differential between the elite and the masses leads to a vast power differential. The elite are able to tailor the framework of the mainstream paradigm so as to adequately control the minds of the masses by sequestering esoteric knowledge regarding the workings of human consciousness, particularly how human consciousness is interrelated with the natural laws of the universe. Such information is known to the elite, and they operate accordingly. This knowledge gap allows them to utilize the laws of nature for their own advantage. They know how natural law operates, that it is immutable and always in effect, and so it is nature's law that every holistically intelligent being possesses freedom of will, the freedom to choose what to do or what not to do with their behavior. However, every such being is also subject to the consequences of those behaviors. Infringing upon the free will of another being without their implicit consent incurs negative universal consequences that no being in creation can avoid. The consequences of such an infringement may not immediately take effect or be readily apparent, but nevertheless, these consequences are an inevitability. This presents a major problem for the elite, and this spiritual law is most likely perceived by them as a frustrating limitation upon their psychopathic urges. They have, however, devised techniques to dampen the effect. Through revelation of the method, the dark occultists wish to insulate themselves further from the consequences they would otherwise incur by directly infringing upon the free will of the masses.
They openly talk about this stuff.
They do.
It's not a conspiracy.
We won't need elections.
We won't need elections. Watch this.
I've seen this before.
The technology now is, and digital technologies mainly have an analytical power. Now we go into a predictive power, and we have seen the first examples, and your company very much involved into it. But then the next step could be to go into a prescriptive mode, which means you do not even have to have elections anymore because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be.
Hogan! It's really like...
It's crazy shit. It's just crazy.
Why do they say this out in the open?
Well, because
I think they're programming us. They're desensitizing us to just go along. I mean, there is a theory out there, Jimmy, that they do it because of karmatic reasons to relieve the punishment that could come back to them. Because if they said it, then they can't be responsible karma-wise for what they do to us.
Secrets of this magnitude were seldom revealed in the past because the population had not yet completed the process. To make such perverse revelations to an unprocessed, healthy, and vigorous population, possessed of willpower and memory and an intense interest in their own survival, would not have been a good thing for the conspirators. It could have proved fatal for the cryptocracy. But to reveal these secrets to a people who have no memory, no willpower, and no interest in their own fate, except insofar as it may serve as momentary titillation and entertainment, actually strengthens the enslavement of such a people. The component of the mockery of the victim as a show of macabre arrogance, when done in a veiled or symbolic fashion, and eliciting no significant response of opposition from that victim, is one of the most efficacious techniques of psychological warfare. For within this horrific nose-thumbing, this perverse jest and clowning, is the issue of consent. Now, it's one thing for the media, the police, the judiciary, and the killers themselves to commit these terrible actions without our knowledge and consent. It's quite another matter in the realm of psychological control, public ritual, and psychodrama when these crimes are perpetrated with our consent. And it is an ancient rule of both the moral and the common law that silence connotes assent. Silence and inaction constitute consent in the face of these crimes.